In the immediate aftermath of the crime, it was so horrific that I think there was an enormous well of public sympathy for this mother who'd had her 3 children shot.
I went down to the sheriff's office and said, please arrest me so that I can prove I'm innocent so my kids can come home, and they wouldn't.
But as Diane tells her story, slowly but surely that public sympathy begins to shift.
Reporters covering the story were getting hints that Downs herself was a suspect in the case.
People are starting to get suspicious of Diane's story. Even her own father questions, really, is she telling the truth?
I made the comment, it looks to me like Diane did it because the children have been shot in the chest and Diane has only been shot in the arm.
If I had shot my own children, would I not have done a good job of it?
It was such a shocking story that, and little kids, they'd look at their mothers as if they were thinking, well, you wouldn't shoot me, would you?
When I go to bed, I cry at night. Even now, I still cry. I dream about Cheryl.
I talked to her for about 2 hours on camera, and she didn't cry. It was uncanny that she didn't cry. And I mean, I wanted to cry.
Downs is now expecting another child.
It was a shocking revelation.
I got pregnant because I miss Christy, and I miss Danny, and I miss Cheryl so much. I'm never going to see Cheryl on Earth again.
Nobody could believe she was pregnant. This is a woman who's suspected of trying to kill all 3 of her children and succeeding with one of them, who is pregnant again. The contrast is extraordinary.
You can't replace children, but you can replace the effect that they give you. And they give me love, they give me satisfaction, they give me stability, they give me a reason to live and a reason to be happy, and that's gone. They took it from me. But children are so easy to conceive.
She didn't have babies so she could love them. She had babies so they could love her. And she said, I wasn't alone. I had somebody inside that I could talk to.
Diane just loved the attention she got when she was pregnant. Apparently not so much raising kids.
When I heard Diane was pregnant, one of the first thoughts was, well, who's the dad?
Does the father know who he is?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that's why I won't talk about it, because he feels as privately about this child as I do.
She was a litter carrier, so she was carrying mail, and she picked one of her men on her route who had good bone structure, he was intelligent, and he was good looking, and she showed up at his door one evening with whiskey and some marijuana.
She told me she knew her cycle so well that she knew if she had sex with this guy that she would immediately get pregnant, and it was a snap. So that guy didn't know exactly what he was getting into.
While Diane is busy talking herself into the prime suspect chair, police are quietly gathering evidence.
Downs also says the children were shot inside the car. But police reports claim high-velocity blood spatters were found on the outside of the car.
We went to a site where the vehicle in which the child was shot was stored. Looking at it from the passenger side, I saw a blood stain on the lower door frame.
Diane Downs had said that the shooter leaned into the car and fired at her children. And if that was the case, how did this blood spatter get on the outside of the car?
We believe that Cheryl, the 7-year-old, was able to open the door and fell out on the ground, and Diane reached across the seats and shot her a second time.
Then let's talk about the weapon, a .22 caliber handgun. She tells police she does not have a handgun.
We discovered that she had bought a pistol, and it was a .22, and it was a Ruger. Well, bingo. They searched Diane Downs' home, and they found a rifle, and there were some .22 shells in the rifle that had been ejected from some other weapon.
I took the cartridges that were found in the rifle and examined them under a microscope, and I could see extractor marks on the rims of those cartridges. These are unique marks. They are unique to only one weapon.
The markings on those bullets match the markings on the shell casings found at the crime scene.
There are so many holes in Diane Downs' story. It's like shooting a fish in a barrel. After the bushy-haired man shot all of her children and she got away from him, she raced, pedal to the metal, to the hospital, to the emergency room. But guess what? There's a problem with that.
The police find a witness who stated that he actually came up behind Diane on a road, and she was driving so slowly that his speedometer was not even registering.
What was she doing? Waiting for the other kids to die. That's what she was doing. That's how evil she was.
Police are obviously looking for a motive in this case, and so they go back to the diaries.
When you read Diane Downs' diary, you read, "Nick, nobody's ever been able to take your place in my heart. My kids aren't any trouble."
Nick liked kids, but he said, "I didn't want to be a daddy."
Diane considered the kids to be a hindrance to Nick's arrival, and as long as he said that he wasn't going to be a father to anyone's children, they had to go.
If she didn't have these kids in the way anymore, she could have her lover that she was having trouble living without.
When you look at mothers who kill their children, their own narcissism and desire to lead another life without these children basically overrides any caring that they may have.
At night, when I close my eyes, I can see Christy reaching her hand out to me while I'm driving, and the blood just keep coming out of her mouth. And that, maybe it'll fade too with time, but I don't think so. That haunts me the most.